Welcome back to another episode of Scaling Up, where we take you behind the scenes of scaling a partnerships house building company. In this week's episode, I visit two very good friends of mine, Jiggens and Stuart Wyeth, who are building over £250 million worth of property development projects. We visit Stuart in his place close to Farnborough, and we get to visit his office and his sites, where we go behind the scenes of how he scaled his business. And we also have a sit down with Jack and his business partner and ask him all the questions that you want to hear. So enjoy. Building over 250 homes, and we have aspirations to build thousands.
So this is a HMO in Aldershot in Hampshire. Train station's just literally just there, stone's throw away. We've got a number of HMOs in this area, and they're really good because they rent for around £850 to £1,000 a month. Nice. This is the smallest HMO we've bought, but we've gone in 50-50 with an investor who's put in all the money for all the build costs, and our job's just to deliver it. So we've got a master bedroom, or a big room here, knocking through, keeping the structure real simple. We're going to have a lintel through here into what will become the shower room.
So all of them are going to be en suites?
All en suites, yeah, and all with little kitchenettes. This wall's coming out. It's a non-load bearing wall, so we're going to make a nice big big kitchen in this area. And then coming through here, so we always try and get 2 rooms per floor. So this will become the kitchenette, ensuite and bedroom on the ground floor. This becomes a corridor and an entrance way out for the other tenants to use the garden.
So because you're putting kitchenettes in, do you have to give them a communal kitchen?
Yes, you have to have a shared facility, whether it be a bathroom or a kitchen. Okay. And I send cleaners in every 2 weeks to do the cleaning in the communals. Yeah. They have no shared toilet, they've got their own nice suites each, which costs more to build, but it makes a lot more sense.
And that kitchen, do you have to also give them a living room, or is it?
No, because they're over 10.5 square metres, they're classed as bed sits. Okay. So they've got living, seating, and the rooms are big enough. We don't build little pokey 7 square metre rooms. We always try and aim for 10, 12, 15. All these ones are like more than 10.5 square metres. Most of them are like 14, I think.
Cool.
Come through. So this becomes the other bedroom. So we're going to vault these ceilings, give them their own independent garden. So this one at the back here, they're almost like little mini studio flats. People stay with us for 2, 3, 4, 5 years because it gives them enough space for them to...
Yeah, because they have their bedroom, has enough space for a little bit of living in their desk maybe as well, and they have an ensuite in their kitchenette as well.
Little kitchenette, which you'll see on that other side. So we've got a little fridge freezer, microwave, little sink, place for their cutlery, cheese, cereal, little wall cupboard. It just gives them enough space to keep their own stuff on their own. Cool. So this will have a shared communal garden, and then this will have a little private garden, just to give it a little bit of make it a little bit different. Nice south-facing garden. We come upstairs, so we've decided to take all the ceilings out on this one, just to give us a maximum amount of space in the loft. Yeah. Again, working with the same principle, another 2 bedrooms on this floor. This is going to come the master bedroom, or the bedroom at the back. 1 step up into a dressing area with the kitchenette, and then an ensuite in this area. Yeah. So that'll be split in 2 basically. And the room at the front will have the other half of that room. So we've got a decent size here, taking all the chimneys out, maximise the space. I mean, this is the smallest HMO we've done.
And how long would it take, do you reckon, to do this? What's your time scale?
We're under no major pressure, we've got no doubt on it. Yeah. So I've got a team here who's a new team that's joined us. We've known each other for 20 years, but part of our vetting process with Sky Lofts is when we onboard a new fitter, we want to work with them, so we can sort of bring them on board. We can take the risk on one of our developments, see how they work, how they manage themselves, and then once we're happy, we'll then put them onto one of our customers' lofts. So it works really well hand in hand with Sky Lofts. So they've ripped this off. They're 2 weeks in. All the ceilings have been dropped about 2.3. You won't notice it once it's done. So we've got another 2 rooms upstairs with 2 en suites. So we've got a 6-bed HMO, which should bring us in just under £6,000 a month.
Is it permitted development here?
All under PD, yeah.
So you could just do this with PD, and obviously just new building control?
We've started. We've gone into the council now, but we've gone under PD, but it's retrospective.
And if you was to put a timescale on it, let's just say you did have debt on it, what would you put as a timescale budget?
For us to build this, we'd be done in 6 months.
6 months, you'd say. So if anybody watching, 6 months would be this
6 months. So it'll be for us from starting, cracking straight in. So we've got the permitted development done, we'll then apply for the HMO licence, but by then we'd have everything. Everything's been designed already for a HMO, because we've got a number in the area, we know how the council operate, and we're quite happy to take the risk and get on with this stuff, just to speed. Because obviously the money we've used on this is 100% our own money, so the quicker we can get this refinanced into another one for October, November, then we'll just keep recycling.
You could recycle, nearly 2 year basically with that type of money on this.
Exactly. And if we have to leave 30, 40 grand in, our investors said they'll top us up up to £500,000 to keeping we need about £500,000 to do these. 300 grand to purchase, 150 grand's worth of build costs, and then refinancing for about 650 gives us almost all of our money out.
Excellent.
Right, so we're on Aldershot again. We're only about 300 metres away from the last site we were at. This one is an old accountancy firm which we bought direct to vendor. We actually knew the accountant who was selling the building. He come to us, knows seen us in the area and said, look, I want to retire, do you want to buy it? So it never went to market. We knew it had potential to be turned into something. We didn't quite know what we were going to do, so we split the basement floor off into a separate flat. We made a 6-bed HMO. It wasn't quite big enough for flats, so we made 6 really good sized rooms upstairs, and then we've got a 1-bedroom flat on the ground floor which we're going to rent to the student market.
3-bed HMO.
Yeah, effectively, yeah.
All right, awesome.
So yeah, we've got solar panels on the roof on the front, full re-roof. We've managed to reclaim some of the windows because some of them are in pretty good condition. We just changed some of the glass panels, and then down here we've sort of stripped everything out, took the staircase that joined the 2 floors together.
Did this come off market then, Stu?
This is off market completely, yeah. It never went to market. So we offered 410.
Yeah.
For it, which was we offered 400. We agreed 410, but we agreed 150 grand as a deferred consideration, which allowed me to go and raise the cash to buy this.
Deferred on what?
Investors. Deferred on 12 months. 12 so we can just pay them the balance. Yeah, it's about 700 quid a month it's costing us, but which is fine. You know, it's not major pressure. But it meant I could buy it in cash. We could do all the building work and then refinance the thing at the end, and then we'll hold it with our 2 investors.
How do they protect their position for the deferred consideration?
They've got a mortgage because we bought it in cash, so they've just got a first on it.
Ah, I see, yeah, fine.
So we're going to cut this steel out. So this was a bit we were just waiting on. Upstairs is decorated, which we'll have a look at in a sec. Yeah. But down here, this column we were going to take out and do a structural wall, re-putting in the old spine wall. Yeah. But the engineers have come up with another post, which this is all ready to pour now. Put the new post in, we'll then cut out the piece in between, and then that will link the front and the rear together.
I see, yeah.
And then we've got kitchen, living room. Yeah, just taking we've got a little lintel going in.
Cut that out, yeah.
Exactly, keep it as simple as we can. Then we've got a bedroom in here, got a living room / bedroom in here, and another very big living room / bedroom. Yeah. Because of the parking, we can only get planning for a 1-bed flat, which is understandable, but it's definitely bigger than a 1-bed flat, so we'll actually rent this out as a 3-bed HMO, unlicensed.
This 3-bed HMO, they're going to share a bathroom?
They're going to share a bathroom, This is going to the student market, so there's a university in arts, university in Farnham, and this is perfect for what they want.
Is the upstairs going to be for students as well?
They'll be professional.
Professional and students.
This bedroom here, people go, how are you going to get 3 rooms in here? So what we've done on the front was a shop front, which will go around the front in a sec. Yeah. We took a piece at the bottom, we've put a window in, which will create a light well down here, which will then light this smaller bedroom, which will basically be all plastered and all made nice, so that will give us the natural light.
To be fair, that's not too bad for a student.
No, it's perfect.
Students will be all right, you know that, yeah.
They'll be fine. So this, what the boys have done, which they're really good to do, is they made this a certain size because on the inside, that's become the ledge of the table for the kitchen. Okay. So we were going to put a bedroom in here. Because of the road, we decided to put the kitchen and living room at the front and have the bedrooms at the back where it's quieter. Yeah. So I'll show you the inside of that. So this is now going to become the kitchen. On first design, it was going to become the bedroom. So now what we've done is we made the light well, and we made this so we can put a nice worktop on to match the kitchen. Yeah. Put the table and chairs around it, and it'll feel like it was all part of the
So did your team come up with that idea?
Yeah, on site.
Nice.
It's an initiative. That's why I try and promote in our business.
On some sites you've taken down the chimney, on some you've kept them in. How do you decide which ones?
We've taken the chimney from above, but because of the coving, if you take everything out of a house, it just feels like a box where it was in pretty good condition. I mean, there's a little bit more work to do, but at least when we dress this, because it's going to be a shared room, it'll make it feel a bit more upmarket than if we just rip the whole lot off. So we've taken the chimney out from above all the way up.
So upstairs bedroom,
correct,
is not there.
Valuable, usable space. There was no real point taking this out. We wouldn't have gained anything because we've got enough for a 4-seater sofa, a 3-seater sofa, and a chair, and the TV on the wall. And then that just makes this quite cosy with some nice curtains. We'll dress it to make it feel good for the marketing. Yeah. But on feedback from our customers, I was with one literally this weekend who's just moved out after 4 years of being with us. And I said, does anyone ever sit in the living room? They said, no one. I was the only one that ever used it. There's brand new leather sofas in there that never been sat on.
That's why I assumed straight away this was a bedroom, because a lot now of HMOs, you see them as bedroom with ensuite or off-suite, and you have a kitchen, dining, which is the living area as well, and no separate living room. Why did you put a living room in this one?
This is too big a unit. There's nothing else to do with the space. We actually went on this one with the council. We asked them to do a loft conversion and then make this into a bedroom with a kitchen, living room, and they said we're just trying to sell them as flats. I'm like, we're not trying to sell them as flats. We're just trying to make very, very big sized bedrooms, and they didn't want us to do the loft, so we had to use the space we had, which is 4 rooms on the first floor, 2 rooms down here, and then you obviously a living room.
So this living room is actually surplus space. You wouldn't actually actively look to put this in.
No.
You can already get your 6 beds in, and your bathrooms, and your kitchen, and you're left with this.
I'm left with this. And that's a good purchase because, we paid 410 for this, and we've got a 6-bed HMO, which in the area, 350, 400 grand for that's a fairly good price. And then we've got a three-bed flat downstairs. Yeah. So the best thing about running these small HMOs along the big sites we're going to have a look at is it gives my labourers and my semi-skilled guys the chance to come up through the ranks. Yeah. So on here, I've had 2 of my labourers been with me for 2 years. They've ran this whole site. So not only is it cost effective for me to do that, it gives them the freedom to run their own sites together and to see the quality of what they can deliver. So everything you're looking at is done by my labourers, basically. The plastering's done professionally by my guys, but all the boarding, all the insulation, all the board work, everything you can see, and it's, I would challenge other builders to do as good quality. So, we really pride quality, and I don't want to have any issues with this stuff long term. This needs to be, let them forget literally for like the next 20 years. We won't be touching this. So this is one of our kitchenettes.
Oh, okay, cool.
So as you walk in, it's like a little studio flat. So you get
famous kitchenette. It's like a caravan, isn't it?
Little fridge freezer, enough for your fridge, your sandwiches, and all the best of it.
Microwave.
Cheese, microwave. Little ensuite shower. Totally practical for a single person living in here.
So this typical room here.
Yeah.
Bedroom, come living, come kitchenette, come ensuite.
Hotel suite.
Yeah, basically, it feels like that, doesn't it? And how much will this rent for?
About £900 a month.
And do you know what your average tenure for a tenant to stay in a place like this is?
I would expect someone in their mid-20s or mid-40s to stay here for around 2 to 4 years.
2 to 4 years.
Once they've set up, because we do it all furnished and stuff, they've got the TV on the wall, they've got the desk area or dining room table, if you like, and then built-in wardrobe and chest of drawers. This one will have a little one-seater sofa as well.
Which you'll provide, is it?
Yeah, we'll provide everything. We'll kit the whole thing out.
Do you use a professional staging company, or do you buy them individually? From Amazon.
Whatever size is going to fit. I know what size is going to work best for that space, so we'll just order it from wherever, whether it's Dunelm or IKEA or whatever the bed stuff needs to match. We'll just buy it all.
And would you reckon,
but it lasts quite a long time.
And demand in this area, do you reckon you'll have any issues renting this out?
It'll go in hours.
Hours?
Hours. We'll put this up on a Thursday, it'll be rented, it'll be viewed on Saturday morning and gone, deposit taken. Excellent. It's that quick. Because
one of the biggest risks for increasing the amount of occupants in a building is condensation. Do you have any issues with that, or how do you deal with it?
So we've got internal wall insulation everywhere around the building.
And you do that on all of them,
On everything, on all the Victorians. I mean, we've got A rated in the last one. This one will probably get a B, just because of the basement and the way we can't take too much more insulation on the ground to on the basement floor. But this, because we've kept it under one title, I think we'll probably get the whole thing done under one EPC. Yeah. So we'll see, but obviously I'm paying the bill, so it's my job is to make it as efficient as possible. We've got 2 batteries going in, we've got, I think it's like 14 solar panels on the roof on here. So I want to make sure that when people rent the room, they might work from home and they might be using the power for 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, they might not leave the room. So I need to make sure that, that it's not going to cost me a fortune. So it's a bit of false economy if you just go with gas.
But mainly internal wall insulation throughout, and then natural ventilation?
Yeah, natural trickle vents, so we've got... obviously windows, there are trickle vents that we put on here. We normally do MVHR as well sometimes. So we in the ones in the sex shop Chinese, which we'll put in here as well. But they have separated ventilation, so they'll just be working on humidity. So
the sex shop Chinese is a famous development that Stuart's done. We will visit it, but very quickly, because you've said the name now. So what is the sex shop Chinese?
It was literally the last remaining sex shop in Rushmore that I bought. That closed down, and we bought that, and then we bought the Chinese next door to it, and made a 6-bed in the sex shop and a 5-bed HMO in the Chinese. But it's all on the social media, SW Homes and stuff. If you want to take a look,
check out Stuart's socials and have a look at it for the famous sex shop Chinese.
It's $265 we pay for that.
Did you?
Big lump, and there's 6 really good sized rooms. But we are where we are. So we've got all the bed through there. Everything's going up in the loft. Another room.
What's the floor? We'll use the same floor now throughout. Obviously, this
floor was leftovers from the bank that we had. Okay. So that's the floor that we've used. But we'll use it moving forward. It depends really on the style. So we've been tweaking kitchen colours. That's a different conversation for the bank, but we've been tweaking wall colours with kitchen colours to try and find what works. That's like the most neutral, unoffensive finish without it going magnolia. That sort of appeases females and males and whoever wants to live there and rent it. So bed, unit, TV, little kitchenette. There we go. That's the HMOs.
What do you do for internet around here? Obviously, high speed. Do you have any problems with it? Do you put boosters in?
Yeah, so we'll have gateways for each individual room, and they'll all be on tube, and it'll all be fibre. So yeah, they'll all have their own independent password, and they've all got. They've all got hardwires in each room as well.
And what's your key management strategy? How do they get into the doors? What do you do? Do you use wireless, old-fashioned keys, code system?
Old-fashioned keys, mate.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't see a reason. I mean, I know Jack likes to do the old twisty door handles, you know, a manual. We just do old-fashioned locks, keep a lock, key lock.
So they don't have, it's not like a code, you give them a key?
Yeah.
And who manages?
Front door key, and then they get a key for the letterbox, and they get a key for the front door.
That's interesting, isn't it? Everyone has different key strategies, isn't it? Some are like a hotel.
Well, you've got part queue as well, so if you go for the one master key that does everything, there's major issues with that. I hate anything that's digital that's going to need batteries. This is another process to try and manage when the batteries are beeping and stuff, and the tenant can barely work Netflix sometimes, so that's why we don't provide tellies anymore. We just provide the bracket, and they then buy their own TV.
Oh, because you mentioned TV up in that room, I was going to ask you.
It'll be a TV bracket, it'll be set out for TV, and then they'll provide their own TV.
And you just give them a free view?
We give them their own access.
Like it's just an aerial for.
They get commercial, communal TV. They get
if they bring a smart one, they can have
exactly
Netflix to do one, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they deal with all that.
Cool.
And I don't want to be turning up trying to change batteries in door handles. They don't unscrew it. So I thought, you know what, let's keep it simple.
I hope you're enjoying this episode so far. Don't forget to press subscribe and also leave a comment. It really does help us. We're currently taking a break from Stuart's sites now, and we're going to head down to Henley-on-Thames, where we have a meeting with Jack Jiggens and his business partner, and we get to ask all of the questions that you're going to want to hear. So enjoy. Well, I just found it interesting, obviously, from conversation. I've always found it interesting that whilst you two are business partners in various ventures, combined, you actually have quite a lot of businesses. You have Aura Architecture.
Yep.
And you're also partners in XP Property.
Correct.
And you have XP Surveys as well as Central Suites.
Yeah.
And then you're both also involved in Opara.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Have I missed any there?
No, that's correct.
Yeah.
So we're banned from creating any more businesses by the wives.
Yeah. You're banned in.
Yeah.
Do you have a separate business? Like you have a separate portfolio business with your brother, essentially. Do you have a separate?
Aura Architecture is my separate business.
Yeah. You don't have a separate property one?
No.
What you've got quite a few businesses now, and you've been in business together. What's been the secret of that? Like, how has it worked?
What's been the secret? I think we both have similar visions. Like when we first set up together, it was very much let's go away and do our sort of separate 10-year goals and vision, come back together and see like where we sit.
Because you get partnerships where they enjoy working with each other. I know plenty of business owners where they just enjoy being around each other, you know, similar to me and Rob. We enjoy, you know, I enjoy sitting next to my brother every day in work. But then there's equally partnerships where 1 + 1 = 3, which is when you have opposing skill sets. You actually look at them and go, they bring so much to the table that I don't have, and then they feel the same way, vice versa, and that's just personality and skill sets and techniques and whatever it may be.
What was your first thought of Jack when you first met him? Because I know you said you did this courting period.
He's still in my phone as Jack Jiggens PPN Reading. So we at some point we'd have met at like a property, doing Progressive Property Network.
Yeah.
Like, so I knew of him, and we both started the same education. That's how we met, like at an educational sort of platform. When we first properly met was in a coffee shop in Reading, where our mentor, who had been mentoring us for a couple of months, said that you two should have a chat because you work in the same areas and you get along. So other than that, I think after that meeting, it was almost like I can see myself longer term, you know, working with Jack, and it grew from there basically. So
what was your first thoughts of Ben?
I thought Ben was an architect for the first few years. We had to keep reminding me. He was like, I'm not actually an architect.
To be fair, most people still think that I am.
I mean, everyone on our open day was like, well, Ben's an architect.
Yeah, it's so hard to distinguish. Yeah.
I thought he was an architect.
I mean, coincidentally, I've for some reason I've always known that I'd go into business with a partner. I just feel that when you can enjoy the journey with someone, it's way more. Not only it sort of makes the lows kind of comical when you're trying to turn on the head and then share that environment with someone and go, this is shit, and then you laugh about it, and then you sort of work on it together. And then when I met Ben, I could definitely see that there was a technical side where I was hugely lacking.
So if you guys could rewind the clock now with all the knowledge that you still got, Do you reckon...
Social housing in Wales.
We've already dibs that. But would you... Two things, honest question. Do you reckon you'd go into business again with each other? And what would you do?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, absolutely. I think I wouldn't do our social housing portfolio. Yeah, go rolling back the years, 4 years. We'd have said no. We'd have.
And was the writing on the wall at the time? Do you think?
No, to be fair, no. But at the time, my sort of hesitation or sort of reluctance to it was the time aspect of we've got all. We were hungry. We were 3 years into business. We see lots of good stuff happening, and this was another venture that on paper seemed very promising.
Yeah.
But
just to touch on the social housing portfolio. When you say a friend of mine who I don't see as a business mind person said to me, what could you have done differently? And I think that's such a powerful question. And the only answer I had was not grow as quickly. Because everything that went wrong was out of our control, and that's sometimes the risk you take in business, and you have to deal with the consequences.
So you'd have still done the portfolio, but just not as many deals as quickly, is that right?
If we own a quarter, right? So if we brought in the equity partner, which is technically a half. If that half was 100 and we did half as much, it would be twice as it would be half the problem, right? So it's difficult, but we've learned a ton in that amount. And you kind of, if we didn't fill that void in our energy and risk appetite, what else would have come in? It could have been something else.
And I think just to finish off, what's like a top tip that you would give a young budding entrepreneur, a young Jack, a young Ben, fresh out of school? I want to do this.
Yeah.
What would you tell them?
Mine would be pay someone, if they accept payment, some people don't, but get a mentor that's been there, done that, worn the shoes before you, because the speed you will learn off them rather than walking your own path, you're going to walk your own path anyway, will be so surmountable, will eventually end up getting you where you need to go quicker without as much hurt and pain and loss, and with way better guidance and consultation to get there. So basically seek mentorship, essentially.
Sort of stolen mine, but I'll think of another one. So, for me, it's understanding your numbers and understanding the business model around what you're doing. I look back at kind of Aura and sort of, I think Rye actually said he's got a mate who wants to start an architectural practice, and I said don't. It's not a profitable business model. Whereas when you look at XP Surveys and what we've done over the last 3 months and sort of prove that business model and the scalability it can have, I would take XP Surveys in a heartbeat because it's repeatable, it's not subjective. With Aura, there's scope creep, there's planners making delays, there's clients changing their minds, there's clients delaying things. There's all sorts of stuff that just eats into that profit margin. Whereas XP Surveys is, we survey it, we draw it, we output it, it's job done, it's on to the next one. Yeah. So it's very much more commoditized sort of thing. So I think understanding your business model and understanding your figures is fundamental regardless of what business you want to start.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's what we bought. So we added a floor right across the top.
So that's what you bought?
Yeah, so it was an old Barclays building. We bought it again off market. It was just about to go to market, but I was at a networking event and the guy's brother took the instruction on literally the week before, so he was getting all the drawings done. And because our office is literally 5 minutes away, I knew the building really well. So we've basically added a whole floor across the top.
Taking the back out.
And around the back, it used to look like this. Yeah. So we pulled it out about 1.6 metres and up 4 floors. Nice. So it's quite a big.
What was the foundations for you to go another floor on? What type of check did you look for?
So we had to do an internal inspection and make sure it had double rebar. So we had to prove to the engineers that it had 2 rings of reinforcement.
Mesh,
mesh. And that was enough then to add.
And
the
it
floor.
did it?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, so we put an offer in subject to the foundation inspection.
Yeah, you
said we need to add the floor. We've done a delayed completion for 12 months.
Yeah.
I don't even want to turn around while it's quiet and have a look at the site. So we've done a delayed completion for 12 months. We allowed a soft strip out and we could rip the vault out. That was the agreement. We paid them 10% and then during that 12 months we got the planning uplift and then started work the second we bought it. Which was it was a good decision. It was a poor decision. We should have given ourselves another 2 months before we started work. We started like puppy dogs. We were like, bang, let's go, get the frame up. And we didn't have all the engineers' calculations stuff signed off yet. So we should have waited for stage 4. That's a lesson you learn moving forward. We were going to move our office into the ground floor here, but the parking was allocated to the resi. And because the train station's there, the nearest train station parking we can use is about an 80-metre walk. And the team are so happy where we are, as you've seen the office.
Yeah, you've got lots of parking where you are.
There's loads of parking.
Yeah.
It's quiet. They can work there. So we've actually just secured a Premier convenience shop that's going in there.
So, because in that one is resi.
Yes, it's 3 ground floor flats.
Yeah.
5 per floor, so there's 18 in total.
Yeah.
And then that shop there is the SW Home sign is the commercial premises.
You're going to put a convenience store there. And what, like, how long?
Premier, 15 year, no breaks. Yeah, it's a new company, so we wanted 20 grand a year. They've offered us 22 and a half, so we'll take that.
Yeah, they're operating a franchise in the Premier or something. Right?
Yeah, exactly. They're going to buy it, sell it up, and then sell the company.
Yeah, they sell them. Yeah.
So, should we have a look around?
Yes, please, mate.
So this used to be the entrance to Barclays. So we've obviously got brick slips going all the way around the perimeter. Yeah. We've got a new shop front. You're not in it? That's all right. This is the shop. We can't get enough to go around the side. There's talk of the mayor coming down. They want to do a piece on us as well, just to try and say when we open it. You can see the height here.
I can see you being a mayor one day, sure.
I don't know about that, mate. We've done for half-height windows, so you've got a bit obscure, a bit of privacy as people walk by, but you still get the light in. Entrance, we've got an audio-visual entry, some nice downlights either side. So this is our sort of standard economy finish, if you like. Same flooring as the older shop flooring. Howden's kitchens. Stone worktops, but again, it's all about minimum maintenance. You know, we don't want to be using laminate. You know, decent size TV area.
So this, obviously, these are now self-contained apartments, not HMOs.
Correct.
Are you looking to keep these, sell these?
Keep the whole block, yeah.
So the whole, in terms of the 18 in total, how many are 1 bed, how many are 2 bed?
All 1 beds.
All 1 bed flats, okay.
This and the shop should bring about 303 grand a year in.
Okay.
We're trying to get a 7% yield on that.
Okay.
So it gets us about 4.2, and we've spent, including finance costs, about 3.3.
3.3.
So, and we've done it in 14 months. So it's
14,
not,
from start
and
to
a load of lessons learned. Like we can probably trim 2 months off the build time. There's savings all over the place.
How much building costs?
The build cost on this was about 1.7.
How much could you trim if you did it again?
1.5, easy. Easy.
And
I'm pretty seasoned, right? 20 odd years doing construction, and I still know there's so many efficiencies we can make now.
Well, that's a really good point, because you are seasoned in it, obviously. What was the major lesson from this that you would do different?
Well, it's the first sort of real big commercial site that we've done, which everything from my team using their initiative, which I absolutely promote in the office. They applied a lot of the residential loads calculations and used some of our household application specialists on a site like this, where we should be going to Premier, which we now do. We use obviously, Tier A engineers and architects. So what we've done is we started with a load of assumptions. We assumed it would be fine, and then when you added all the loads and the floors and the weight to the lightweight timber frame we were trying to add to try and keep the loads down, it bit us in the bum a bit, and we had to go back and do a load of work, and then fire compartmentation, all the details we have all drawn up, fire stopping. So because they classed the top floor as new build, I thought they were going to class it as conversion, but it was all under new build regs. So the installation that doubled in value in the amount of money and time we had to spend. So there was loads learning, but airspace development, they're not
it's really expensive, isn't it?
It's crazy.
To build something now into current reg is really expensive.
I'll try and show you a few bits of what we have to do up there, which make complete sense now. And when you do these things, once you live the life and the path, everything becomes clearer, but you have to do it to learn. So I would say all that is...
You've got the knowledge now, you've got the data.
Yeah, now we're just looking to replicate this size, do these like 3 or 4 times a year, and that's our sort of business plan now, because they are very lucrative if you can get it right. Everything we've ever built, if my life took a turn, whatever happens in family life, I would live in any of my stock. And that goes to the HMO rooms as well. Like, we won't buy a site that's just gonna. If I wouldn't expect to live there myself, I wouldn't develop it, and I think that's our sort of key metric we like to design. But
what, do you put in 7-foot beds then?
So queen emphasise beds, mate. That's why I said.
Because with your height, you won't fit on most of those.
I need to sleep diagonally, mate. The missus loves it. That throw a dog in the morning in the bed. Our puppy, not the wife.
It's a nice size. It's a nice size. Lovely entertaining space in here.
Yeah, it's a dining room table, sofa area. This was literally like the dregs of what was left, because the shop we made as big as we could.
This is the dregs flat?
This is the dregs of what was left on the...
That's the best flat here, isn't it?
That's what it turned out to be, yeah. Private, quiet around the back. You can see the guys are putting the...
I like the 50 pence feature as well.
It's sealed. Is that?
I like the 50 pence feature as well.
Opens up, mate.
It does.
Opens the display of the room. Makes it look bigger than it is.
That's much better than a boxed off, 100%. In my opinion.
And then the rooms upstairs, the flats, as you go through upstairs on these rear flats, we've done the same in the corridor, so it just feels like a purpose-built flat. Feels warmer, it's not sharp, and just opens the space up.
How much is the rent for something like this?
£1,300 a month.
£1,300.
The train station takes you to Waterloo within 31 minutes, twice an hour, and it's 80 metres away. So this is a perfect location for what we want. And as a build to rent scheme, we wouldn't look to sell these separately. We've got 11 spaces and 18 flats, but we would look to sell this as a package to, this and hopefully 10 other sites like this that would sell to social health.
Hypothetically, if it wasn't a yield basis, do you think from a bricks and mortar point of view, though, as a worst case scenario,
these are still worth 210 a flat. New build, we'd get the new build premium. We've not even pushed to.
Obviously, you're going to get a yield on the shop because that is what commercial is.
Yeah, but we'll just do the income. We'll package it up and then we'll stabilise the asset. But to be honest, there's one bed Bellway sites over the road that's selling for 250, 260, and there's one on the roundabout which is niche on the roundabout. They're like 270, 280. So to get 220 for these wouldn't be unreasonable, which would bring us at about the £4 million mark. Anyway, so that's a backstop, but we wouldn't want to sell them. Yeah, I just don't understand why you sell stuff. I know you have to sometimes, but some developers, their end goal is to hold,
Yeah, but I think because you structured this, the investment structure on this, and again, you bought this with
an ex-loft.
What is it? Did you acquire
customer?
Did you acquire the building subject to planning, or
we complete it? So basically, we took 8 weeks to get the foundations and load checks while we went for a pre-app.
Because it was subject.
Council on board, so then we bought it, and then we just took the risk.
So you bought it once you had the pre-app response back.
Yeah.
And it was positive.
Yep.
So then you were comfortable enough just to take the risk.
Yep.
You bought it with investor.
Yep.
In a company.
10% in.
10% in.
And then gave ourselves 12 months to complete. Got the planning. Started, and that was the end of January last year.
And then did you bring on a development finance company to fund this?
Yeah.
Senior debt lending. Yeah.
So we done dev finance. Yeah.
And what was that like? The process.
Yeah, pretty good. Fine? Yeah, they were fine. They just knew they needed. Once we got the planning, they were ready for us to release. So we completed. Went straight into dev facility. Yeah, they were good. % above base, whatever it was. That's 1% a month.
Had to give them a program, schedule of works, cash flow.
Yeah,
and
PCC.
Then they come out once.
Structure warranty.
What's the frequency they come out?
Once a month with a monitoring surveyor. Okay. So he comes out, and we obviously gave him a full breakdown of what we were doing, and we were just claiming off the cost because we are the builder. We didn't break this into a light touch builder contract, which we're now doing. Yeah. So we basically gave him our program and the money, and then we just called off the works that we've done every month.
Nice, good.
Yeah, it's been a learning curve again because there's things on there that if they were missed on the CSV, we couldn't actually charge for them. They won't pay for them. So we've had to cover all the lessons learned, which is probably a 200 grand list of lessons. And we've had to cover those costs. Which if we didn't have Sky Lofts as a cash flowing entity running alongside it, it would have been a right pain. We'd have to pour more money. Hello, chap.
And that's the key reason why you should have a working capital budget on top of whatever you think you need to do the development, so it can cover things like unforeseen costs and also costs that the development finance lenders just won't cover.
Or be good at raising capital, just ask for another 200 grand.
Don't, on the back foot, that's where me and Stuart live, on the back foot.
Always.
Under pressure.
Always, it's where we perform best.
See, the size of these flats, right, the apartments, they're really good sizes. In Wales, we have to build 1 bedroom flat. It's got to be minimum 52 square metres for social housing.
Same as London.
Which is
crazy.
When you walk around here, I mean,
as a one-person flat, as a couple who can live here, you've got your sofa, your TV area, dining room table, a working bathroom, a good-sized bedroom and 2 cupboards. This is 38 square metres. Works absolutely fine. In fact, the council were trying to push us, because it had no external amenity space in the pre-app process, they were trying to push us to create them, make them 5 square metres bigger, which meant we'd lost a flat per floor. And then we'd have gone up an extra 2 floors to try and regain the development budget, the extra risk with the foundations. I said to them, look, we either buy this and you support us, plus I had another site round the corner that had 9 flats, all up 37 square metres, and policy DE3 was that they may or may not ask us for this additional amenity space. So I called a meeting for all the planning officers down at the council with the head planner there. The lady who was looking after the application wasn't available to that meeting, but the other guys were. And I said to them, look, we're a small developer trying to improve the local area. We're either buying this or a sovereign wealth fund will buy it and it will sit looking like an ugly building for X amount of years. And we don't want preferential treatment. We want to know the shopping list of what we can and can't do in our local council. They took a view on it and they basically dropped it, which is great. So
that's good.
So this is one of the flats. Just doing the snags now. So we're literally working
on system. What's that? Video camera.
This is a video anyway, so they can let people in from the door. So people living up the top, people go, oh, have you not got a lift?
Like, who is it?
It's like we're 3 floors above ground. And to be honest, if you shop with Waitrose anyway or whatever, they'll bring it all up to you. So you can literally buzz them in, and they then do the heavy lev work. So all the ducting and stuff from the outside, you'll probably see the building opposite. Look at all the shit that comes out of the ducting from all the kitchens and the bathrooms. that building opposite, all the shit that comes down the render, which we didn't like any of that. So through a contact of ours, he was like, why don't you put them above the windows? So we've got these white panels, and we've put the vents and everything in above the windows and made the windows slightly smaller. So any water, moisture runs down the glass, and then you can clean them. So we can just get the cleaning contractor to say, well, our building won't look like that in 5 years' time. Which is, again, these little things that we just tried to work on to just make sure the building looks its best light in the years to come as we drive by it.
Yeah, that makes sense. This area though, you haven't got extreme weather here, have you? In terms of
it's not Wales, mate.
Yeah, we've got extreme weather. Right? There's a map, isn't it? And
you just get everything coming from the Atlantic.
And we've just the whole Wales is red. Just extreme weather. So we have to build to that.
Yeah.
You know, and then all the render.
We have snow loads and wind calculations and stuff, but
Good stuff, mate.
There you go. So this is like I said, this is the
14
economy type
18
finish.
flats.
Yeah. Good sized bedroom.
Do you reckon realistically you'd give yourself that time frame again?
No, I'd give myself under a year.
You give yourself under a year?
Absolutely.
Oh, this is the carpet one walking on.
Yeah, the carpet's all done now. Got the cleaners to do.
And that's the colour scheme you go for, is it, in rented?
Neutral, this is a mid-stack lime.
You normally see in rentals, they put a dark carpet down just in case of handovers, don't they?
Yes, but for the cost of what it is. So if it was mine, I'd want it clean, rented. You've got hard flooring here. If you wear flooring, if you wear shoes in there, you're an idiot.
Do you know what? This is the only time out of the whole tour that I've disagreed with Stuart.
You think go dark
the only
carpets?
time I would have put dark carpets down. But to be fair, mate, that's only one thing out of like 100. So we'll see.
We'll see. Well, at the end of the day,
rentals though, dark carpet, never
bleachable, hard wearing, good cost, good quality. We'll see how they survive over 5-6 years. But to be honest, it cost me like 300 quid for the room.
Yeah, so 18 of them.
Oh, they're not working, but this is the longer flat at the rear.
Oh,
so this
I like
was the extension down.
I like
so
the
you come into a nice long. Yeah, that's
what that's called. The feng shui of it, feng shui.
So it flows through and feels like a flat. We've got the air source heat pump, got the ironing board and hoover covered on this side. And then we've got, because this is all new build regs, all the doors have to open outwards. Another pain in the bum, but it is what it is. And then we've got bedroom. We decided these were bathrooms originally, and this was moved over. But we decided during the build construction to actually make the wall and landing slightly over to the left, put decent sized showers in and make the bedroom a bit bigger. But this was what was going to become the worst flat. It's one of the nicer ones because it's got the double aspect.
How many parking spaces you provided, Stu?
We've got 11 in there.
11?
There's 11 going in there.
Are you going to white line them?
Yeah, we're going to put the top coat on once everyone's finished. Put some post and rail around.
Yeah.
And then we're going to white line it, and that'll all be done the next 3 weeks. Yeah, that's Farnborough, mate.
Nice. Thank you for watching this week's episode of Scaling Up. I hope you found it very useful and insightful. You got to follow me, going to meet two of my very good friends, Jack Jiggens and Stuart Wyeth, who are very successful in their own right. And I asked them a ton of questions, which hopefully you found useful. Don't forget to press subscribe and leave a comment in the comment section because they really do help us. And also share this video with anybody that you think may find it useful. Also check us out on socials. We are on Instagram and on TikTok. Until then, I'll see you on the next one.